Hey, I figured I'd do a 2-for for today. Fairly apt 2-for, where I am going to do the Where Do You Find the Time book tag by Josh at Working Man Reads, and my TBR, as it is, for the Mrchng Mmmths 2021, or March of the Mammoths. These two go rather well together because one is all about reading a big, massive book, and the other one is where do you find time to read? And let's explore. I actually first came upon this tag through James Holder's channel, where he did the tag, and then I went back and watched Josh. And Josh is very much a busy guy. He is somebody who's got he's got the full-time job. During COVID, he's just using the hand sanitizer like crazy, and I can feel you. I'm a support worker, and I've been continually working through and things. He also has children and a child on the way. And it's one of these things of where do you actually find the time when you're not like Steve Donahue and you don't wear pants and you're a professional reader and that's all you do during the day? What do people who this isn't their main thing, this is their enjoyment, their hobby, though their lifeblood as well, where do they find the time to get reading done? And also, I guess, just sort of what your priorities are. I think Josh talked about various other different activities he does with his family and stuff like that, and how do you kind of fit all this in with being a reader, and the aim being getting more people into reading. You say you don't have the time, but it's so worth it, So let's get to the questions of the tag. Question number 1 is, where is your favorite place to read? Probably my favorite place to read is in the bath. I don't usually do that during the week. That's more of a weekend activity where I can lay in the bath and I can read, and it's all it is reading. During the week, it's mostly it's on the couch, it's in the bed. Probably on the couch is probably the one where, I probably get a good bit of reading done. I've got my reading light, tired old eyes. It's like a good bright light on a when it's a paper book, and less so when it's, ebook, which, can jack up that font. So that's probably my favorite places to read, I think. Do you read every day? Yes, I read every day. I've been in training for the Mrchng Mmmths, and I've been trying to kind of okay, let's focus again on making sure I kind of get that, an hour at least or more of reading in, maybe a bit, try and get a hunk in the morning, hunk at night, just sitting down and reading. There's other reading I do, audiobooks and stuff like that, which will come up in other questions. Number 3, do you read out loud to any family members? And Josh in his original thing said family members or anybody else. And actually, I do read to somebody else. I read to somebody else in a professional thing. I'm a support worker at a group home, and one of the clients' kind of bedtime routine is she wants to be read to each night. So I've been very blessed, and it's been very lucky to kind of get to do that night after night. And it's actually kind of encouraged me to do more reading out loud at home, both for my own enjoyment, so I can pick the book that I'm reading versus, at work. This is about this individual, but also to get better at reading out loud. So I can be better at work and stuff like that. But also just sort of it's sort of an enjoyment to actually have to read each word out loud. I know that a lot of people are about fast reading, about efficiencies of reading, but it's actually nice to kind of sit and have to say each word out loud, and to kind of make it work, and kind of semi try and dramatize it in my very limited way of doing it. Mostly, I'm not trying to do accents or anything like that. God help me. I just how can I read this in a way that's engaging and that brings it to life? So yeah, it's a really rewarding activity I've found. Number 4, what is your favorite career for a main character to have? I think I like it when characters have careers, professions that I know nothing about. I had been listening to the Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel, and there's a character in that book who is he's an executive for shipping for a shipping company, and it's like shipping containers, and all the different routes. And like, when he looks at a person, he can see like, okay, well, that came through that route there, and that came through that route there from this place there and that. And it's like, oh, it's another kind of insight into the world and how things are done. So I really enjoy when there's a little bit of a deep dive into careers that I have never thought of. Like, one of these things of like, everything I am wearing, everything in this room has come from somewhere else. And how did it get here? I brought it here, but how did it get to the store where I bought it, and stuff like that. So that's really fascinating. So yeah, it's not specifically, I want all my main characters to be shipping executives, but just stuff that I don't know about, and just that kind of gives you an additional, hopefully, insight into the world. So yeah, that would be my answer to that question. Number 5, do you read at work? I don't read at work. There aren't particularly breaks at my job. It's just, it's an 8-hour shift, and you're sort of always on. You're always doing. During that shift, I listen to audiobooks oftentimes as I'm biking to work, and after work, I usually kind of do a good long bike, so I get exercise, and I also listen to an audiobook like The Glass Hotel, which I just mentioned. So yeah. Number 6, what book are you reading now? I am reading Peter Carey's Parrot and Olivier in America by Peter Carey. It's a good book in training. It's like lots of good chunky writing. And actually the kind of the pairing of these two fellows kind of comes up in my segue when let's go to the segue actually right now, which is talking about Mrchng Mmmths. Actually, one of the moderators of Mrchng Mmmth, Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, is a big Peter Carey fan. It's because of him that I picked up this book. But yes, so for Mrchng Mmmth, Mrchng Mmmths 2021, Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, Lukash at A Cruel Reader's Thesis, and Alex at Big Al Books are hosting this kind of annual event that every March it challenges you as a reader to pick up a book that's 800 pages plus and read that during the month of March. Now, some of the readers, like Jason, he says like he's a slow reader. He likes to really kind of hunker down in a book and just maybe his natural pace of reading. He's like, look, oftentimes he doesn't finish it in March, but he wants to challenge you. They want to challenge you to at least kind of start one of these books, these intimidating books that perhaps sometimes you would shy away from. I'm a slow reader, so I know that if I settle myself down for an 800 plus page book, it's a big commitment. And where am I going to have the time? And, it's one of these things that kind of makes you think about, okay, I need to kind of get a little bit of a discipline going here, which, hopefully will also kind of carry over into the rest of the year where, all things equal, you'll kind of continue that reading. So, I have picked a 940-page book, and it is Edith Grossman's translation of Don Quixote, which is Miguel Cervantes' it was published in 2 parts, in 1605 and 1615, is often considered like kind of the first modern European novel. Sometimes a lot of people consider it the greatest novel, which is like, oh, it's all this stuff. It's like, it's a giant book. It's considered the greatest novel. It's all this stuff that's kind of designed unintentionally by people who love the book to, unfortunately designed to kind of intimidate me. I've had this translation for the longest of times. I'm taking Mrchng Mmmths as an opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to settle down. I am going to give myself March to really kind of buckle down and make a concerted effort to get a good hunk of the way into this. If not all the way, we'll see. I think the big thing is I'm going to embark on this and give it a really good shot and hopefully really sink into it. In past years of doing Mrchng Mmmths, I've found that when you really get into an amazing work of fiction that is this long, by the end of it, you don't want it to end. It's too short. something like this is too short. We'll see if this one, that works its magic on me. It's also a crapshoot. You know, that's how it goes. So yeah. If I'm going to, the final thing for, Josh was, you know, tag some people. So, in lieu of tagging some people, I will link to the announcements by Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse, by Lukash at A Cruel Reader's Thesis, and Alex at a Big Al's Books, and their announcements for, Marching Mammoths. Because, hey, once you do find that time, why not pick up a mammoth, and brace that, find that, you know, whether this year or later years, or, you know, screw that. Just, you know, when you have that time, to pick up a book, you know, find the priority. You know, we all have busy lives, but there's such kind of reward, in reading that, it's really great to find that time. It's something that kind of, I'm not talking about it's going to make you rich or anything, but it's going to make you rich in your soul to find the time to read a book, to settle down and, sink into, other people's lives, into, the language, into amazing stories. Yeah. So find the time. All right. More videos later.